Alright, let's go inside.
Hi everyone, how you going? So in this video we're going to be doing mushrooms. Not the hallucinogenic sort, the wood turning sort. So these are the standard ones that you normally see sort of people doing online. It's just with rough pieces of wood. It's ingrain turning. As you can see here, they turn this direction. This one just lost the bark on the bottom, so I wire wheeled all off all the bark because it was a bit eaten up by bugs, worms and all that around the edge. This one here has got the bark on the bottom. So yeah, the great thing about wood turning is you can use sort of any sort of wood you come across. I just found this on the side of the road. Well, I found all these really on the side of the road apart from this one. This one was at someone's house. This is Tawa. This was at our place. This is Magnolia. I'm not sure what this one is. If you guys know, let me know. But yeah, I'm not sure if we'll get into showing how I make all of these in this video. It might end up being quite long if I do that. But basically these are the ones if you got nice sort of dowel-like spindles. This is all quarter sawn, so there's no pith in this and all the grains are pretty straight. Unlike these ones which are limbs, this is the whole piece. So that quarter sawn one over there is basically like this chunk here. So there's the pith. Quarter sawn would be like this bit here. So yeah, I think I'll show you guys making some of these live edge sort of mushrooms. I don't think there's will be enough time in this video to show this as well, so I'll do a separate video for this probably. So the first thing for turning these mushrooms is you're going to need to mount them on the lathe, and I'm just going to mount them between centres. This is the live centre, this is the drive centre, and the tail stock's got the live centre. So we need to find the centre of this circle, not the pith. We need to find the centre of this limb, and it's best to use limbs that are cylindrical as you can. That way you'll be able to get a nice curve on the top. So the way I go about doing that is I've just got a combination square here and another square, and you just line up 245s just like that. There are rulers and stuff that you can buy that do this, but me being me, I'm quite frugal. So yeah, just like that, do some lines. And this will just give us a ballpark of where it is. So you want to keep that edge there on the edge of the circle, that edge there on the edge. So once you've done that, you can sort of see all these lines are mingling up here. Don't worry about these other two, I misdrew those. So the centre is basically in the middle there somewhere. It's because it's not perfectly round, that's why all these aren't matching up. But if you had a perfect circle, this will get you the centre. But because this one isn't perfect, we've sort of got a rough guess. So it's in the middle of that triangle there somewhere. And then I just like to punch and then the same on the reverse. So you can see this side here is more of an oval than this side. And you can see how further apart all the lines are. So we're just doing the same thing again, we're just guessing for the main sort of centre of the mass. I reckon it's about there. Another punch. So you want your top of your blank, whatever you decided it's going to be. That's going to be the round side. That's going to be the bit that's heading towards the tailstock. Because what's going to happen is you're going to put the tenon on this side, and then you're going to flip it and put it in the chuck, drill a hole, and put the worm drive in. So you can finish it off on the worm drive with nothing else getting in the way. So we'll just do that now. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to straighten up this end here on the lathe, and then we'll stick the tenon on with the calipers. And I'm just going to use a spindle gouge for most of this because this is spindle work. Alright, got it flipped around now. Now I can tidy up this end here because this is going to be the bottom. So you're going to need, this is the bottom here, so you're going to do all your finishing on the bottom before you go any further on this. So we've got that tenon on the top here, so that's going to be the top, this piece here, so the tenon's on here. And now we want to clean off this bottom and get ready for drilling. So now if you wanted to do any sanding on the bottom, this is the time to do it, but because this is green wood, I'm not going to really bother, and I got a pretty nice finish there on the tool anyways. On these other ones, which is the same wood here, I just lightly sanded these at the end. You can see the bottom there I didn't sand at all. And it doesn't really matter on these are meant to look a bit natural because they probably crack anyways because it's end grain and it's wet green wood. So now I've got the finished bottom here finished. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill that hole, and when it comes to drilling the hole for the worm drive, you want your drill to be the size of that inner spindle there, not the size of the threads. As you can see there, So this is an 8mm, and I'm not sure what this is, like a 10mm diameter I think, and this is the one that comes with most chucks. This one came with record power. And yeah, you don't need to go as deep as I drilled, but there's plenty of space to drill on these. Drill down, and it's probably better if you do drill out there, you might have less chance of cracking, especially if you drill right through the pith. But the pith isn't on the centre on this one. So now I can take this off the chuck. I can put the worm drive in now, and you just line up these 4 flats on this. You line up the flats with the jaw face on the inside of here, not the actual jaw itself. And then once you got it lined up, you pull it forward, because there'll be a bit of movement in there, so you pull it forward, tighten it down, and that's it. And there's 2 sort of ways you can mount this. You can do this when the lathe's on. It is a little bit sketchy for some people, or you can just screw it on there. And if you've got dry wood, you don't want to do it with the lathe on, because that's probably just going to grab it and rip the threads out, and it's just going to... But green wood, you're pretty set to just do this when it's powered. Turn the speed down, and use an underhand grip, so when it grabs, it goes like that. Try not to hold on the end. Just like that, and then the final bit, just tighten up by hand. Now that's mounted, ready to go. That's probably actually sturdier than a tenon, having that little screw in there. You wouldn't think so, but it is. So now this is going to be the top. We can put our cove on here. We can do this shape here now. We can do the cove, and then I like to work backwards, so you've still got all the meat there supporting the top. Because if you do the bottom first, it might just snap when you come to do the top. Alright, I'll move you guys around so you can get a better view. Alright, got you moved around here. I'll just bring the tailstock up for support. You don't really need it, but I'm just going to put it on there anyways. And yeah, like I said, the first cut we're going to do is we're going to do this one, and then we'll come in and hollow out most of this, do the back cut, a little bit of back cut, and then we can come and do this cove here, and then that's it done. pretty much it. Now you can sand it and put any finish on it if you want. I think I might just lightly sand this with some like 180 and 240 grit. So there you go, finished up to 240 grit there. Now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of tung oil. So the oil's soaked in now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wax it. I'm just going to use some of this burr wax. So I like to just work it on there first, and then I'll turn the lathe on to max speed and burnish it in. And that's it, and then just unscrew it off the worm screw. And that's it basically. One mushroom. So you can see they're pretty easy to make. Good little gifts, or you can stick them in the garden or whatever, because like I say, they are probably going to crack because it's ingrown, and there's no way to keep all this bark without having the pith in there. You could drill it out or something, but it'll probably still crack. So that's pretty cool. Let me know what you think, and I'll do the other one in a different video. But until next time, thanks for watching.